94.3 WYBC, the rhythm of the city and home of the Juan Castillo Morning Show. Good morning, New Haven family. I am your host, Jay Kemp, and with me is my comrade, Remedy Sharif. What's good, brother?
Peace and blessings. Super Saturday, baby.
Yo, man, I like Super Saturday, bro. I like Super Saturday.
We
you know
back,
what I mean?
man. We made it. We made it thanks to the Most High. We made it. If you're waking up with us on the right side of the dirt, then give praise to the Most High, man. It's good to be here.
Because we overlook some of the most amazing things that happen. You know, like growing grass. Like we overlook that.
Yo,
our brains. You know what I mean? Like some stuff that's amazing. If you really look at the statistics and the things that happen around us.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just waking up.
Yes.
And we just like overlook that. And,
Yes.
You know what I mean? So Super Saturday, man. Let's give thanks.
Yes, sir.
You know, we just unimpressed by amazing things.
Yes,
I think if Jesus showed up today, we'd be like, all right, bro, you walked on water and
Man,
all
who
that.
got in
But
them sandals?
you ain't flying. Let's see you fly.
Your sandals ain't leather.
Right. But so dope show today. We're gonna be sitting with Kebra Smith Bolden to talk about drug war reparations and among other things. But we want to get to some hot topics real quick before we get into that. So again, live in peace to Nipsey Hussle. The video his mother sent out made that very clear that he lives on. You know what I mean? What a strong woman. I mean, the whole. Did you watch the service?
Yeah, I got a chance to see some of it. Yes.
Yeah,
sir.
man. Yeah, Farrakhan was teaching, bro.
Yo, we living, we living now, and we are able to witness and see. We gotta really look at and let people smell the roses, man. We living amongst great queens and kings that's really here.
Yeah.
And so much we focus so much on the past,
Right.
but witness, and you do that so we don't make the same mistakes.
Yeah.
But witness the witness what's going on here in our own communities, outside your communities. Witness that.
Yeah, I wanna definitely salute everyone who does the work. Yo, yesterday I was at Career High School, which is where I mainly do my I get my bread there, but I work with my kids at Career High School.
Mm-hmm.
And
phenomenal job you do, brother.
Thank you, brother. Salute to all of them over there. But also, it was Choices Day yesterday, which was just pretty much where people from the community are coming in with different things that they do. And I saw brother Sean Reeves, I saw Diari Alec, you know what I mean? So I just want to salute, man, all these brothers and sisters who are just doing amazing things in the community that might not be celebrated the way they should, might not be acknowledged. You know, salute to you and for everything that you do.
And phenomenal people, and not doing the work because it's trending now.
Right.
You know what I
right.
mean? Not doing the work because it's trending now.
Which is, listen, and you're right. There's a lot of people who are now doing it because it's trending. But let me say, I love that.
Right.
But let's keep that energy when the emotions come down.
Absolutely.
Let's keep that energy when the emotions come down. Yeah. So that's good. I wanted to be able to talk on that. But also another part of this that I wanted to touch on is the T.I. and Nipsey Hussle. T.I. and Kodak Black.
Right.
And how T.I. came at Kodak Black or whatever. What do you think about that, bro? I mean, for people who don't know, Kodak Black was speaking kind of reckless. Yeah, he was speaking reckless, period.
Totally.
Right after Nipsey's transition, talking about, getting with Laura London, and which I don't even know why that was even a thought in his mind. That would never, ever, never happen. No matter what alternate universe you go to. But T.I. came at him, told him he had a pocket, and was like, listen, bro, watch your mouth. And it went back and forth. You know what I mean? What do you think? You think T.I. should have handled it a different way? You think the Tank, because Tank also, came at him and was like, nah, brother, it's the wrong way.
I think it was good for brothers to come at him how they were going to come at him. I think Tank thing was good too, because that's who Tank is. But I think T.I., I think he was on point. And T.I. being an artist and everything that he is, he's living in that social media platform, and that's how people do things. But I would have not only hit him on social media, but then I would have hit him behind the scenes as well.
Right.
I still
as
would
an older elder.
I still would have called him and said, yo, what in the world? But T.I., I have no problem with T.I. coming at him and saying, yo, bruh, fix it expeditiously. But you know what I mean? But I don't think, and I don't even think T.I. was over the top with it. He just told him like man to man.
Game was over the top.
Game was over the top, and I think it was still warranted. I love what the game. I love the game. You know what I'm saying? I love what he did on that note. It's like, yo, bro, my heart is ripped to pieces, and you doing what?
Let me hear from the young king, Spencer, because you know that's your generation that's out there, the Kodak Blacks. What do you think? You think T.I. handled it right?
How do you feel being connected to Kodak Black in that way?
Situation.
I'm not Kodak.
I feel like they could have all took this situation a little bit differently. I don't think they should have took it to social media personally.
Right.
It just feels like, not that they were trying to embarrass him, but to prove a point. On a topic that sensitive, I feel like a behind closed door conversation would have been sufficient enough.
But do you think, like, okay, I could call you up, hey, bro, listen, man, you really out of pocket right there, man. I need you to fix that. And you are a sensible brother to say, yo, okay, I got you. You know, good luck to the OG. Yeah. Do you think Kodak is like that for real? I mean, like,
if you're respectable, like if someone like T.I. were to come to him, I think he would take what he said in consideration. I mean, he did apologize. It wasn't really sincere.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I guarantee you, if someone came to him beforehand and said, yo, that's not a good look, you shouldn't say that, I don't think he would have said that.
I'm just wondering if some of us older brothers, sometimes these younger brothers, that brotherly love, gentle approach ain't always gonna work.
There's something the matter with their brains, man.
That's what I'm over. I mean, I know y'all ain't asked me nothing.
Well, we didn't get to you yet. We about to salute to Kebra Smith, who just joined us.
Queen is in the building.
Queen of cannabis.
Hey.
Yo, but there's something the matter with their brains. It's too much lean. It's too much.
Well, we got a nurse
pills.
here, so a nurse is saying she agrees.
You know, I just think that, especially coming from your generation, you all expect respect that you haven't earned necessarily, and then expect somebody to then respect you after you disrespect them. Like, it just is the weirdest. Y'all are some interesting people.
Yeah.
Millennials. Like, you all late. What are y'all called now? Is it still millennials?
I don't even know. It's like Generation
I don't even know, because
Z,
I know like there are
now.
30-something-year-old millennials too.
Generation Z.
They have like Generation X or Generation
Oh well,
Z.
whatever
I think that's,
y'all
like, the
are,
next
y'all
one
need to
coming
get
up.
it together, because respect is earned.
Centennials, I heard.
Period.
From Mr. Justin in the back. Centennials.
Centennials. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, for all older brothers, man, I think there is an approach that has to happen for some young generation that might not be as loving as we want it to be. You know what I'm saying? It might have to be a punch in the chest. Real
That's
talk.
what I'm
The
missing.
words.
Yeah, right.
Y'all missing punches in the chest.
Yeah.
I'm not saying their words were wrong. Just the platform they choose.
He did it on social media live.
Yeah, and I think sometimes that's the only way that they'll actually listen, honestly. Like, some things ain't even real unless they're on social media. You could
people,
say,
yeah.
to especially the young generation, did you put it up on social media? And it ain't real.
So can I just throw this in there real quick?
Yeah.
So we see what's happening out here in our society, and we see how people of color are being treated. We being murdered. We being killed. We're being mentally raped. Our women physically raped. It's a lot of things going on. When are we gonna? And this is just how I feel. When are we gonna recognize the only thing that they respect in this society that we live in? Is you got to meet force with force. That's just all I'm saying. I'm not trying to promote anything. I'm just,
you're going to a different angle.
Well, I'm just saying, man.
I know what you
tired.
mean, though.
I'm tired.
If we
That's the only
raised
thing to
these
respect.
kids right, we'd have been in a better position.
You think
Right.
about these.
As a mother of a 20-something-year-old, I'm realizing I should have smacked fire down on her more often, so that now at 25,
right?
She don't think she could, but. When we were beat. We were.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're like, we're gonna be different. We're gonna talk to our kids.
I don't even think that's the thing. I don't even think that's the thing. What happened is, I don't even think we so much trying to be different. I just think that they took that out of our hands, because now parents are getting locked up.
Well, this is
kids
true.
are going to school with
This
a little
is true.
bruise,
Right.
and
This
it's
is
like,
true.
listen,
This
my
is
dad did that, and they like, oh, now they're showing up at your front door.
Yeah,
Get
because
out
I
of here.
remember my dad, like, being very bold about it. Like, yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I
well, it
whooped his
wasn't my dad,
behind.
it was my mom,
to
man.
the principal. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I just
man.
feel
So
like
yeah, go ahead,
just
and then
like
we're
a lot
gonna
of
wrap up
outside
after this.
factors, from just generation to generation, just a lot of changes,
Yeah.
So I know it might take a while to get adjusted to, but I feel like just going about teaching us the right way.
Yeah.
I feel like the older generation could do a better job. I mean,
I agree.
social media, Yeah, it's more of a young people thing. That's how we tend to
Yeah,
communicate
in this context.
in this context.
But if I was gonna, punish my daughter, I'm not gonna go live.
Yeah.
You know
Some
what I'm
people
saying?
You gotta grab them by the collar,
You
man.
seen
These
videos?
dudes, you gotta grab them by the collar and shake them up.
Yeah,
Shake them
right.
up. You think about things differently when it's you or your family sitting on the front row.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah. So I wanna move on quickly because I do want to discuss a really important topic today with our guest today, Kebra Smith. But real quick, salute to all the Stop and Shop. I don't know exactly what's going on. Do you? It's the Stop and Shop strike.
Really.
It's about people not getting paid though, right? So where did they get these robots? I'm just confused on how they got robots in Stop and Shop, but they can't pay the people. Like, where's that coming from?
That was weird. And
I saw that.
I go to Stop and Shop, and I came around the corner one day, and this thing was sliding
Just
past
rolling
me.
down
And I
aisles.
just looked, I said, Lord, like, what?
That's the beginning.
Who that?
That's
Yeah,
the
that's
beginning.
exactly what I
Straight
said. That's
up.
the beginning.
Yeah. 2 years from now, they'll be like, "Hello, can I help you?"
Yeah,
you'll be
and
like,
probably
"Whoa."
even say your name. Hello, Remedy.
Oh
No,
my God.
no, thank you.
face
No,
analyzing, getting
thank
all
you.
your information
doing
just
that?
off of one look and scan.
I know what you're looking for.
They made movies on why this is gonna be bad.
You want mangoes.
No, you don't.
So today we are going to talk about drug war reparations, along with the state of Connecticut with the legalization of marijuana. And there is no better person to have on the show to talk about that than our very own Kebra Smith Bolden, the CEO of Canna Health. What's going on?
Hey,
Good to
morning,
see
good
you.
morning.
Good
So-
to be seen. Good to see you too.
So where are we, Kebra? Where are we with legalizing marijuana in Connecticut? Are we close? Are we far? How's it looking?
We're definitely looking close.
Okay.
So, for the first time ever, two different committees have voted for the legalization of cannabis in the state of Connecticut for adult use. So far, general law and judiciary. General law deals with the creation of the industry. So the forming of the Cannabis Control Commission, really how equity applications will work. What else? Just the structure of the industry. Judiciary deals with some of the related penalties and what'll be penalized and what'll be expunged and what won't be and who's gonna get out of prison. The last element that has not been voted in committee yet or out of committee yet is the finance committee, and they're dealing with tax revenue from cannabis and community reinvestment. So they're going to be the ones who identify where this money will go and how it will go back to our communities. But if you notice, in every one of those committees that I spoke of, there's talk. I mentioned equity. I mentioned expungement. I mentioned community reinvestment.
You definitely
and
have.
so that's really kind of stand up
Okay.
for Connecticut.
That's- yeah, it is.
They're not perfect, so like the expungement, they're talking about expunging people with low level, less than 1.5 ounces.
Oh
my
my God.
thing is,
That's
if
like
you
a
could-
roach.
Yeah, now my thing is, if you could sell hundreds of pounds right now legally,
Right.
because of the fact that you realize that the law was racially motivated and ultimately unconstitutional,
Absolutely.
then no matter what you've sold,
Right.
should now be forgiven.
Should now be forgiven.
That's a hard sell to Republicans and to people
Because they look at it like you're selling it to drug dealers. I mean, you're letting drug dealers go free.
exactly.
And that's
I'm like, yeah, let the drug dealers go free.
right.
This is what you created. This
If you lock up
environment.
those drug dealers, then lock up the pharmaceutical drug dealers.
exactly,
Whoa.
who actually have killed people.
That's great.
Right.
with their pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. So I wanted to, Todd Foster was on here not too long
Did
ago.
he give y'all some spoken word?
No. He was.
Okay.
I think he wanted to, and he was like, "Oh, you didn't give me enough time, brother." No, but he was
Can I
great.
ask her something about the committees?
Well, let me
I'm
just
sorry.
go to this thought, and he was great. He was a really great guest.
Yeah, I like him actually.
He provided some really great insight, and I think it was important to. What I thought was important about that conversation was for us to consider those who are pro cannabis to consider the other side. We have to consider the other side when we want to actually grow in our ideas. You know what I mean? See what's being said, see what's being debated, so you can know for yourself. You know what I mean? You, on the other hand, you're very versed on both anyway. You know what the counter argument's going to be, right? But one of my questions was, I feel it's inevitable that it's going to pass. So
Right.
my question was, are we ready? Do we have?
No.
Yeah. So I really wanted to go into that because I was talking to a couple people that were like, oh, you didn't push back on him enough. And I'm like, first of all, there wasn't a reason for me to push back on him. We're allowing his view to be heard. At the same time, though, the question is not whether it should be legal. Are we ready for it to be legal? Are we going to capitalize on the legalization? So where do you feel we need to be to optimize our community with legalization of cannabis?
We need to be having conversations as a community. We need to be becoming educated about cannabis. We need to be understanding the laws. We need to be showing up at the Capitol and really making our voices heard. We need to be having conversations with the Pastor Todd Fosters of the community and addressing their concerns to an extent. Like, for instance, so we need to be having conversations.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean, I know we're going to get into more, but we need to be having conversations. We need to be showing up, and we need to be
and maybe trained, I would think.
Absolutely. I've been teaching classes for almost 2 years now, and we are getting more people to show up. There's a class going on today at 10 o'clock. It's on cultivation.
How much of the people that are showing up being trained are people of color and also ones that might have been formerly incarcerated?
Maybe like a third.
Just a third. Mm-hmm. But we want more.
Absolutely.
We want a lot more.
But listen, now, my thing is, at this point, my people aren't showing up. They aren't paying attention. They aren't, claiming their stake in this. And it's disappointing.
That's a mindset. and with you saying that, Jay, I was gonna ask, like, when you ask how much of our people is there, so on the committee levels of it, the committees that you spoke about, I wanted to ask you how a percentage wise,
how diverse?
Like, do you see us
on so
that
for
level of it?
What is it, general law, or is it judiciary? I'm going a blank right now, but I believe general law. Gary Winfield Holder is the chair, or co-chair of that. Judiciary, Senator Doug McCrory is a part of that. Finance, there's plenty of a couple of people of color mixed up in there. So it's not really like we don't have representation. Robin Porter is a big champion up on the Hill for a lot of these things.
It's more about the people who need to put the application in.
Exactly.
And need to be able to, really utilize this. And every time we talk about this, I always liken it to Silicon Valley. You know what I mean? And now with brothers like Jay-Z and Nipsey Hussle, pushing Afrotech, we're now trying to really push our children into coding and science to really get a hold of Silicon Valley. It's the same here, right? With cannabis, you know what I'm saying? And the ship is going to sail at some point. Yep. We're close to that.
Oh, yeah. What they are proposing right now is that equity applicants, and how we define that, we're still working it out. But anyway, let me just back up and say, in December, a few advocates and I started an organization called Connecticut United for Reform and Equity. We presented to the legislators a 10 points of equity, what we thought were like non-negotiable things.
Okay.
They included a release of all prisoners and expungement of records. That's to be automatic with no cost for consulting through that expungement. Increased patient access through home grow rights to allow people to be able to grow up to 12 plants at a minimum, and then have caretaker options. Equity in ownership, which is very important. Employment and consumer access, so no cap on licenses. A robust equity program with financial support from the state.
Wow.
Diversity requirements with the licensing process. Reporting on diversity statistics. And geographic diversity based on communities that were over-policed, or communities that have higher incidences of arrest, those kind of things. So it wouldn't just be black and brown people necessarily. It's people from the community, which 9 times out of 10 will be black and brown people, because we were absolutely targeted. But, so making sure that we repair that damage that we cause by criminalizing an entire community of people. Local control of access, so it being control on a city level. So the city of so let's take a pause right here. City of New Haven is disappointing me because I'm from here and I've been doing this work for the last few years in this state, and going to, I definitely have open conversations with Mayor Harp. She has, been pretty supportive of everything, but our aldermanic committees, they're not doing anything.
Really?
And the city of Hartford, however, has taken a whole nother step. The city of Hartford has not only zoned the entire city for cannabis businesses, so you don't have to apply for zoning, because that's been another obstacle that people, you finally get the money, you have your license, but then you can't get zoning, so you can't open a business. So the city of Hartford has zoned the entire city, so you can put any type of cannabis business anywhere within the city.
Do you think New Haven's doing that so the zoning could be kept for Yale students as all the good stuff?
Oh, geez.
Sorry, was that too much?
That's serious.
But basically that, not Yale students. Let me not say
but
that.
Honestly, no, I don't think that. I think that New Haven hasn't even thought about it in an intelligent fashion.
Okay, all right. And let me not, just to be clear, I'm not saying Yale students, because you could be from somewhere but I mean the Yale population.
Yeah.
We know that if we go from Whaley Popeyes and cross over, it's a whole different world.
I could be completely wrong, because, stuff that happens behind closed doors I don't know about, but I really just don't think they have given it a thought.
Okay.
So the city of Hartford did the zoning. They passed a resolution saying the city of Hartford welcomes cannabis businesses and will support them. And their city council also voted for a Hartford Cannabis Equity Working Group that they asked me to chair. And this is the city of Hartford. So they're getting ready they're getting prepared. They're having conversations. They're pushing forward this issue so that their city and its residents can benefit.
So who do we need to call on here in New Haven that needs to really help get us in that space? Is it the aldermen?
Yes.
We need to. All right. So we calling on all aldermen.
Yes.
What's good?
I did go to the Democratic Town Committee meeting the other day and had some conversations, and I think we're going to begin, but we're late. Like, we're behind, so everything has to happen kind of expeditiously, because the plan is that once all of these bills come out of committee, they're going to combine the three into one, and then they're going to vote on it on the floor, and when it passes, they're going to implement immediately.
Okay.
And their goal is to give equity applicants, again, which hasn't clearly been defined yet, but it will be people who look like me and you, for the most part. And they're gonna define equity applicants, and they're gonna give those equity applicants a 3-month head start. Sounds great, right?
Yeah.
But not really, because who's gonna show up to start in 3 months?
Right.
At the 3-month head start. Who knows that this is out here? I don't know what else I could do in my little, abilities to engage our community.
Yeah.
And like I said, I like Pastor Todd Foster, and I understand, well, not understand totally, because some of the stuff that he says is just inflammatory. You can't be saying that people are gonna die if you legalize cannabis in the state of Connecticut.
He didn't mention that on the show.
Oh, he says that often.
Okay, all right.
But the bodies and I'm like, what bodies?
I
But anyway.
can't say I don't know what the government will start putting in this stuff.
Yeah.
So if we don't
That's
learn
why
how
we
to
need
grow our own. Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, that definitely will cover that. But I do understand some of the issues. Wanting to make sure that kids don't have access to cannabis, but they do now. So, it's just like but what I don't understand is the fact that we know this is happening. So what we should be doing is making sure our communities benefit from it, making sure our communities are on the receiving end of the repair or the reparations that we deserve because of the war on drug, the targeting of black and brown people, the over-policing of inner city communities. This is where our focus should be.
So I wanted to, because that's a good segue into, you've already kind of touched on it, but I want everybody to be clear on what it is. A lot of time we think about reparations, a lot of people go to getting money like on Dave Chappelle's sketch. Like everybody just gonna get money for reparations, right? But in this sense, now reparations is such a hot topic amongst politicians, and from my understanding, the way of giving reparations, a lot of it is a lot of discussion is happening around drug war reparations. So you want to just explain specifically what is drug war reparations and why is it so necessary for the black community? I know you kind of touched on it, but you know, we'll just be specific here.
Okay, so cannabis was not prohibited because of health concerns, because of the social impact. They weren't even driving back then like that, so it wasn't because of all the car accidents. Cannabis was prohibited because Harry Anslinger, who was the head of the kind of similar to the DEA now, but Bureau of Narcotics was what he was the head of in 1937, testified before Congress and said things like reefer makes darkies think they're as good as white people, that if reefer is illegal or marijuana is made legal or continues to be legal, then white women will seek pleasures with black men. This is on congressional record. Wow. And for money also was another factor, but that was the primary factor, was the racial trying to separate amongst races, trying to instill fear into the white community, and it worked.
They was worried about
it was
women.
A bunch of propaganda that worked. So when we talk about that right there, if you enact a law that is racially motivated or causes disparities among race, it is unconstitutional, it's illegal, so it should have never happened in the first place, right? So when we acknowledge that, and then we move to Nixon and his administration, who very clearly said, how do we get the hippies and the blacks? We make marijuana illegal, we beef up the charges, we make sure, and thus the beginning of mass incarceration and things like that. So these are not just fairy tales and lollipops.
Right, this is real.
This is real stuff.
Yeah.
So because of the fact that we're acknowledging that this was done to our communities on purpose, that drugs were poured into our communities, that criminalization of black and brown people happened on a regular basis just so that they could maintain some type of control, then now that we've acknowledged that, what do we do about it?
Right.
Just say, that was bad, oh well. No, you have to now put your money where your mouth is. And so because of the fact that there will be billions of dollars from the same cannabis that you use to destroy families, put people in jail, rip people out of their homes, because that money is coming in, it should be used to now correct that, repair that. Right. Our communities, like New Haven, what do we have for kids for after school programs?
I mean, I would say there's a lot, actually.
Really? What?
Leap in New Haven.
There's Leap. There's Diari got Fearless Builders. I know I do my work.
Where do you do it?
At Career High School.
Okay, we need a standalone someplace for kids to go with access, with resources, with the ability that is accessible, is not locked, that they're not.
It's not connected to the city.
Exactly.
It's ours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need these in our communities. We need a grocery store, not Stop and Shop, that we own. These are the things that we need in our communities. So because of that, the community reinvestment is really important. So if we are so busy talking about what we don't want instead of what we do want, we're going to be left behind. Right. That's my point.
Do you feel like some of the pushback of why they are very apprehensive, and I mean, when I say they, I mean the ones on the the one that passed the laws or, things to that nature, the reason why they're so apprehensive about giving us these type of reparations is because that makes them have to recognize the injustice that they did. So let's say they have to seriously recognize the injustice that they did. Does that in effect start a rabbit hole? Because you can look at every level of every level of life where we have been done injustice in this country. So then if they do that and they recognize, yo, we got to fix that, we need to do that, this, you know, for people of color, then it goes to something else. And it's like, yo, we need to fix that too. We need to fix that too. Where does it stop? So what I'm saying is it doesn't stop, right? And I agree with that. So that's what I'm saying. Do you feel like that is some of the reason why maybe they're apprehensive about making these things right?
No, I think that Connecticut, first of all, I believe there's a national sense of empathy, a national coming to terms with the fact that communities of color were mistreated, were damaged, were irreparably damaged.
For the lack of a better word. He can't even really word it.
Yeah,
but
it's the trauma, the breakdown of our families, our communities. I think it's nationally recognized.
Okay.
I don't think it's a problem with people saying, yeah, that was wrong. They have no problem saying that. It's the follow-up that is something that they're even talking about. So we have like state senators. I won't name people, but there's a specific state senator right now who is from the Hartford area, and his goal is to take cannabis funds and create universal care.
Wow.
Universal daycare.
Oh my goodness.
Universal after-school programs, elder care in the city of Hartford with cannabis funds.
I want to also just piggyback off of somebody that's doing amazing work grassroots-wise with cannabis. Green Hop.
Okay.
They offer apprenticeship programs to young African Americans, you know, with the cannabis industry. New Leaf, NU Leaf Project, using $90,000 grants to train marijuana businesses. The program will include instruction in typical business skills like bookkeeping, budgeting, as well as addressing marijuana-specific challenges entrepreneurs might encounter. And in Oakland, they're actually training formerly incarcerated individuals how to own their business, sell weed legally, and all of that. So
they're not just training them. The formerly if you were arrested for a cannabis crime in Oakland, you are able to be the first applicant to be able to get your license.
Oh, that's
wow.
So they put you in the front of the line because of the fact that you actually have a conviction. So,
oh my goodness, that's amazing.
That's beautiful.
Yes, yes, because there's a lot of people. Well, this is me.
And I think that should be a point for equity here in Connecticut too.
For
so
sure.
like if you have a cannabis related conviction, you are automatically considered, or if your father was arrested and you are the son want to get into the business.
Oh, that's so great.
New Haven, wake up,
That's
please.
so great. And this could be the conspiracy part of me, knowing certain things, about government, I'm always skeptical.
As should you be.
And so I'm wondering if all they're doing right now until trying to legalize this is figure out a way to criminalize the legalization of it. Do you see what I'm saying? How do we regulate it enough where we still keep the black community out of this, and somehow they also maybe, same with Silicon Valley, but not really, because there's not really laws involved there. But how do we now regulate this enough where we keep this community out? And I'm always wondering if that's all they're trying to figure out. We know it's wrong. We'll give reparations, but we need to know how to handle this after the reparations. So you think it's all good, but really 10 years later, you'll realize we got you.
Well, I definitely feel like that was the attitude with the medical program.
Okay.
The medical program is overly regulated. It's a pharmaceutical model. It's almost like going to a pharmacy for the medical marijuana here. You have to be a pharmacist or a pharmacy tech to work in there. So that's totally exclusionary. It definitely keeps people out. And you had to have had millions of dollars in order to get into the industry. I do feel, and again, this could be my optimism, because I am an optimist. But I do.
That could be the strand that you might be
it
using
could be.
too.
I mean, and thank God for it.
I know.
Because life is pretty bleak without it. But I do believe that there is some real concern for communities. And I do believe that there are some legislators who they're thinking outside of the box. This universal after-school program. So this is the proposal is that certain communities. So let's say I'm using Frog Hollow. That's a community in Hartford that I'm familiar with.
Okay.
That specific community, if you live in Frog Hollow, you'll get free daycare. Your kids can go to an after-school program. The elderly, and this will all be basically like one center. The elderly will be there for adult daycare and that kind of thing. So I didn't think of that. This is a white senator who thought of that. So to be able, so I think they are trying to think out of the box. I do think there is an element that wants to regulate this, keep it corporate, and keep us out for sure. But I don't think that, I know for a fact that if any cannabis legalization is done without equity and without strong equity provisions, then it's not going to happen. We're going to kill that bill. We're not going for it. And I'm telling you, it's me and like 5 other people fighting up there on a regular basis.
Yeah,
and I'm
y'all
fighting.
I see it.
I'm fighting hard, hard. It would be helpful if my community comes and fights with me.
No doubt.
And people like, oh, I gotta work. I can't go to. You don't. I got a job.
Right.
I got a job.
And
I have to take off from my job. You
Yeah.
know how much money I've made? You know how many sacrifices I've made in the last few years? Like, I had a Beamer. I drive a Mitsubishi something. I don't even know what it is right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm selling my house. And I'm selling my house because I want to at this point. But I'm selling my house because, like, I wanted to be able to do things, to be able to be available, to show up, to make sure my community benefits from this.
Yeah.
But I need us to make some sacrifices too.
Let's talk about those. I want people to be very, very clear, because we talk about who's gonna do this, and it's like this is the way. When we talk about doing our part, this is the way, right? Finding who's doing what and how do we support.
That's
So
vision.
let's be very clear. What are some steps that people can take right now to support what you're doing and push this along further? When's the next time that we need to go vote? What do we need to do with our aldermans and hold them accountable to? Things of that nature. So
on a local level, we need to be talking to our alder people and letting them know we support cannabis. Not because we want to get high. Nobody wants to hear that.
Right.
But we support cannabis because there are opportunities to invest in our communities, and we want to make sure that New Haven, that Hartford, that Bridgeport are the beneficiaries of these funds. And so that should be the beginning. And we want ownership. We want to be able to, we should have the right to engage in the American dream as well. And we should have the right to create generational wealth as well. And if there's no other, tell me, can we think of any other way that we can become millionaires through a brand new industry that's coming? What other thing right now? New.
Yeah,
I'm not
new.
talking about old.
Yeah, new. I can't. No.
This is it. This is it for our community. This is like
It's just like if it was farming.
Exactly.
So I think So one of the most important things about that is know who your alderman is.
Yes.
There's a lot of people who don't know.
Yes, but you could always talk to the president of the alder. If you don't know who your specific alder person is, you should find that out. But you could also call Taisha Walker.
Okay.
She's the president of the New Haven Board of Alders.
So find your alderman, and we would be requesting from our aldermen to be more involved with this movement, right?
They should make a resolution like Hartford did, so that people know, because one of the things that Republicans are saying is, well, if we're saying we damage these communities with drugs, why would we now put cannabis businesses in these communities? And there's a total different, we're talking about ownership and opportunity and community reinvestment.
Right.
When before we were talking about doing what we had to do to take care of our families or being the recipients of the drugs being poured in our community
Sure.
and the subsequent violence and necessary afterwards.
Mhm.
So there's two different conversations here.
Yeah.
If I open a cannabis manufacturing center where I'm growing, I get some cannabis that has been grown somewhere, and now I'm extracting elements of it, the different cannabinoids. I'm making vapes, I'm making tinctures, I'm making edibles, whatever. That's science I'm learning.
Absolutely.
That's chemistry I'm learning. That's learning how to that's innovation.
Innovation, yeah.
Yeah, at its grassroots. I want my kids to know about that.
So we go from having these important conversations with our aldermen.
Yes.
And then another step that we can take as far, especially when you go and do your work, and we say we have to work. Is there a way to already know and plan to go?
So
vote?
So there's really only one more. Like I said, the finance committee now will have another public hearing. This will be the last one. So there have already been 2 public hearings.
Okay.
And let me tell you, the opposition was out in force, and they made sure that they had their voices heard. And I definitely showed up and testified and brought forth, evidence as to why prohibition should be ended here in Connecticut. But so there's one more committee. The unfortunate thing is they give us 5 days.
5 days notice.
Yes, 5 days notice before they have a hearing. So I usually try to go live, and I tell people the minute that I hear, or whatever, or put out some sort of press release or something. But there will be a 5-day notice. But guess what? All I do is pay attention. All you got to do is pay attention too. There's a way you can go, onto the state website and put in the committees that you're interested in knowing when the public hearings are, and you can get an email alert for that. So show up. They're going to be community and contact your state level legislators as well. So in New Haven, we have Robin Porter, Gary Holder Winfield, who are all in support of, cannabis ultimately.
And how do we get in contact with you? Follow your page. For those who don't know any of those things, I'm sure if they follow you, they could definitely find as much information as they need as well.
So if you go to CureCT.org, so CureCT.org, that's the organization that is focused on cannabis and equity and the ending of prohibition. But you can always find me, Kebra, Kebra, at visitcannahealth.com, or I'm on Facebook, Kebra Smith Bolden, and my corny name on Instagram, KBreezy494.
K Breezy. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming through.
Oh my God, it's over.
I know.
I didn't say half the stuff I need to say.
I know. We need 2 hours. The 2 hour ones are always good. We can get everything in.
Yes.
But thank you so much for coming
course.
through. And you got to come back.
Yes.
We're gonna see where we are. And maybe come back with some strands.
Okay.
We can get lit. No, I'm just playing. Nah. All right.
When it's legal.
It's legal.
When it's legal.
Right. Thank you for tuning in. Moving Target Radio. Stay tuned for Electric Drum with Yusef Shaw, 94.3 WYBC.
Peace.